Whether living in the splendor of France under the rule of King Louis XIV or adventuring on the high seas looking for the lost city of Atlanta. Always remember these three particular things: faith, trust, and mermaid dust. All those and so much more can be found in The King's Daughter, directed by Sean McNamara, who did Soul Surfer, a very disarming surfing movie. Yeah, I shouldn't be proud of that, but I fucking am. It was written by Barry Berman, who did Benny and June and The Adventures of Pinocchio from 1996. If you don't remember The Adventures of Pinocchio existing, don't worry. I don't think that many people on set even remembered, because it was really goddamn shit and weird. And they're doing another Pinocchio movie. It doesn't look like it's going to be all that good. Really goddamn creepy. Anyway, nevertheless, it was also written by James Schamus, who did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yay! 2003's Hulk. And Lost Caution. Yay! That was a pretty good period piece. Okay, one of the writers from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Sign me the fuck up. Pierce Brosnan played King Louis XIV. Marie Joseph, played by Kayla. Not even going to attempt to pronounce her last name. Remember the movie Crawl? Her, the girl who was in that. She's in this. William Hurt's in this. Rachel Griffith. Bing Bing Fan, who was in the 355. That was absolutely goddamn dog shit. I encourage you to watch it only if you hate yourself. And Julie Andrews was the narrator. If Julie Andrews just narrated the entire thing, we would have been safe from a whole bunch of bullshit dialogue and the fact that the cast seemingly was drunk while sleepwalking, and sustained several major head injuries before each goddamn scene was filmed. Or they didn't give a shit, because this movie, to call the production troubled would be an understatement. So the plot, such as it is, King Louis XIV, played by Pierce Brosnan, says, hey, I want to live forever. I want to be forever young. I want to be forever young. Don't you really want to live forever, forever, forever young? Not to be confused with the Mel Gibson movie Forever Young. Boy, Mel Gibson's career, you want to talk about something that fell hard. Anyway, speaking of falling hard, his daughter was in a convent, played by Marie, and she's brought to, reunite with him. And he wants to live forever, so he hears from a scientist, somebody that actually studied a little bit of science and a little bit of rock and roll and a lot of bonkers shit, said, oh, hey, we can get a mermaid and we can steal her heart and her essence and make you live forever. And William Hurt is his, spiritual advisor, and it's like, no, this doesn't really sound good. This doesn't sound legit. But nevertheless, King Louis, again, wants to live forever young. Okay, I won't do that. And then we have a movie. Okay, so the trouble production about this. It was filmed back in 2014 with a release date of March or April 2015. And it was funded 50% of the way by Chinese investors. Speaking of China, Bing Bing Fan, who's Chinese and had a pretty good career going, hit a bit of a wall, so to speak, because she had not been paying taxes to Chinese authorities or something. I'm not exactly totally sure on the details, but that led to basically the studio not being happy with the cut, this stuff happening, China being a big, big market for movies. And they're like, well, okay, if we can't enter that and we aren't happy with the cut, let's just put it on the shelf for a bit and we'll take care of it in about 6 months to a year. They left it on the shelf for 8. Got released in theaters with minimal fanfare. It got put on Amazon to, again, minimal fanfare. And now it's down to a few bucks. I fortunately got a Prime deal and was able to rent it for $1. And I still want my $1 back because this movie was fucking atrocious. Now, I didn't think that it would actually be any good. I figured a movie that's going to sit on the shelf for that long, not necessarily the best idea to even bother releasing it. Why not just leave it on the goddamn shelf? Because they put this out like you could have just left this, and had it be lost to time. Everybody in this movie seemingly was either held hostage, or their favorite family member was held hostage off camera because they were acting like there was something going on, or Pierce Brosnan was just really, really drunk. And William Hurt, good God, William Hurt died a few months ago. This movie was filmed years and years before his death, and somehow this wasn't even the worst role he'd had in a really bad movie. Remember Lost in Space? You shouldn't. It was rubbish. This storyline and the special effects and other stuff would barely pass. Willow had better special effects. Granted, I think Willow had a bit of a bigger budget than this, but Willow also came out in 1988. The Princess Bride had better special effects and didn't have that many special effects. There are other 80s sword and sorcery movies, however you want to phrase it, that look better than this. It looks like shit. It's not well done. The blue screen stuff is off the fucking charts. I don't know how much money was invested, but You might have been able to get a few steaks, maybe not Omaha steaks, I have no idea, but a few steaks and maybe a little bit of seasoning, some thyme and oregano. Damn it, I have too much time on my hands, which I actually don't, because I clean my hands for I am a good cook. But this just couldn't, they just couldn't figure out how to even make this halfway good. It was so basic. The story, like, girl, the king's illegitimate daughter, she can communicate with the mermaid. She finds out the mermaid's captured. She wants to help the mermaid get back to the sea, somewhere beyond the sea, where nobody will be looking for me, and her lover will stand on golden sands and watch the ships. Didn't think a Bobby Darin reference was going to pop up here, did you? So nevertheless, there's a suitor that King Louis wants her to marry because he can get a lot of money, because they've depleted themselves so much as far as finances, because they've gotten into war and they've gotten into a whole bunch of stuff. And has this been paralyzingly boring enough for you? Well, don't worry. If you happen to watch The King's Daughter, you might fall asleep several times. I nearly did, and I try to stay awake for every goddamn movie. This was just so fucking goddamn bad. The music was shit. Everything was so, just every bit of spontaneity was just wrung out of the goddamn thing, to the point you just couldn't help but laugh at how inept and just stupid this was. And also the mermaid special effects. Bing Bing Fan's a beautiful woman. Now, there's nothing wrong with trying to make somebody look like a mermaid, but good God, it was like baby's first, Windows movie maker. It was fucking terrible. And then she uses her light to heal people and stuff like that and whatever. Or maybe she doesn't. Who the fuck knows? I am going to get into spoilers here in a bit. But spoiling any of this will not matter, because you aren't going to miss anything and won't miss out on anything until your dying breath, which hopefully doesn't come for years. This movie's dying breath should have been left on the goddamn shelf where it could have just rotted away. It's terrible. Watch it if you dare. Yeah, let's just get into fucking spoilers right now. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Okay, so yeah, King Louis XIV gets this idea to kidnap a mermaid. Well, his daughter's in a convent. And then, I swear Pierce is just drunk. His acting was actually, his acting here was the equivalent to his singing in Mamma Mia. And he was never known really as a singer. He's known as a great actor, though. Even this Kaya, who's a pretty good actress. She made Crawl work, even though Crawl was full of a lot of ineptness. It did have Barry Pepper getting bitten to pieces for a little bit, for what that's worth. I mean, then again, he was in Battlefield Earth, and that entire movie should have been ripped apart. You get her communicating with the mermaid. That's all you basically get. You just get a lot of that and everything, and then she finds out, oh my God, my father's going to kill him. Oh no, I don't want to marry this guy. I want to marry this one guy that I found out captured her. But he had a change of heart, and he wants to return the mermaid to the sea, where she can be with her mate and be with their kid that apparently they have, because she can communicate with the mermaid. Also, William Hurt has a bit of a crisis of faith and says, you need to stop this, King. Also, there's a lady in waiting, played I'm trying to remember her goddamn name. Magali, I think was her name. Crystal Clark. She is her help, I guess, so to speak. Would you please help me, help me, help me. She's a little bit alarmed that, Marie can communicate with the mermaids. Like, a very hairy fish called out for you. And no, people don't believe her, but then suddenly believe her. The scientist wants to basically unlock the potential of this mermaid having this life-saving energy, and they have to do it during this eclipse, because of course they have to do it during an eclipse. Why the fuck wouldn't they? She finally convinces the father seemingly years. It seems like this movie took about 18 years to complete, but like time and time again, she keeps trying to convince people to help her, and then she comes up with this great idea of, hey, Vez, I think that's what his name is. I don't actually remember the actor's name because it's not fucking important for the purposes of this equation. Her star-crossed lover, the captor guy. She says, hey, let's go down here and I'm going to get the father to help me because I don't want to marry this guy. She has a very, very bad heart-to-heart with her dad, Pierce Brosnan, again, at least 8 drinks into any goddamn scene he was doing, and says, we need to rescue the mermaid. So they rescue the mermaid. She dives out after her lover gets shot, And then the scientist is trying to kill the daughter. It's over, Beast. Belle is mine. I need to retro review Beauty and the Beast. And then they all take off. Well, she takes off with the lover, the mermaid does. And Marie says, well, Dad, you can either save me or you can save the mermaid, or you can capture the mermaid, because I'm going to dive off of this cliff. And then she does. And then and then the king realizes, I shouldn't be doing this. And then William Hurt says, well, you've always been a great king. Now you've become a great man because you had one moment of clarity. That's how that fucking works. And then the two lovers go off to find Atlantis. And it turned out to be 2 clicks off the coast and right down there. Literally swim 60 feet down, there's fucking Atlantis. Not a very deep ocean, I would say. This was stupid. This was really fucking stupid. One of the worst movies of the year, and the fact that it sat on the shelf for 8 years probably should have indicated you should have just let it fucking rot. F. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.